Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for dropping by. Please be sure to push that like button and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscriptions by the end of the year. If you are a regular and already subscribed, thank you for everything, and I hope that you enjoy this video and you can look forward to many more. So in this video particularly, I wanted to understand how people were feeling this morning, like what are they going through, or how they feel about the election. And particularly, I want to start looking at different demographics of people. So this video will only focus on men. What did they think about the election? I'm curious. Am I the only person feeling the way that I'm feeling? And I know I'm not, right? You'll see some people here who are extremely happy about the outcome, and I guess that makes me a little less afraid. So maybe it'll do the same for you. Let's get into it, and we'll come back with some final comments.
So here we are, no? Donald Trump won the 2024 election. But what really gets me is seeing over 60% of Latinos voted for him. As a Latino, I'm just trying to understand this, and I can't. Maybe they have trust in his promises, or maybe it's a lack of info on how his policy could impact us. I don't know, but it's so disappointing. Okay, so now we have real work to do. Big issues like healthcare, education, climate, and gun control aren't going anywhere. And I hope when inauguration comes, we don't see a leader acting like a dictator on day one. But this is not the end, my friends. We will keep speaking up, supporting each other, and holding on the hope for 2028. So stay close, stay strong, and remember, we got each other.
If you don't want to vote for Jill, vote for Donald Trump. But do not give a vote to Kamala Harris.
Well, Palestinian protesters, you got your wish. You said don't vote for Harris, vote for Trump in protest. I hope it was worth it. But one thing you always got to remember, Harris going to be just fine. Kamala Harris going to be fine. She going to go back to her Senate seat. She got her big, beautiful home. She's a millionaire. She's living an American dream. She's going to be good. You're not going to be good. Because now you let Donald Trump get in there, and he really don't give a damn. So all of this protesting for Palestine, that's dead. I'm through with that. Nah. You didn't give a fuck about us. We ain't finna give a fuck about you. And I don't care what nobody come in my comments and say. I really don't. I'm done. We always looking out for everybody else, and there's nobody looking out for us. Nobody. There's nobody has our back like we have everybody else's. Done with it.
I'm obviously extremely disappointed in the results, but it is clear that there will be a second Trump presidency. It is really on my heart this morning to say that as a man, but more importantly as a black man, that this country does not deserve black women or black people, but specifically black women. This morning I woke up and I just gave my wife a hug because I know how heavy this is weighing on black women. And they have carried this country and saved this country too many times and continue to be the most disrespected human beings on the planet. And it, quite frankly, it disgusts me. I'm thinking about the world that we're going to bring our daughter into in a few months. And I want the vice president to know that her and her team did everything right in the right way. But the unfortunate reality is that this country is still steeped in racism, sexism, and misogyny. I am personally proud of her, and I know that so many others are the same. We appreciate her tenacity, her focus, her decency, and how she handled herself throughout this campaign. And I don't want to hear anybody saying that they should have done something different. She should have been running longer. The fact is that they did everything that a campaign can do and more. But we as a country really have a lot of soul searching to do. And that's really what I want to say about that today. But I want black women to hear from me, to know that as a black man, I am going to triple my efforts to lift them up, to make sure that they're supported, to make sure that they're seen, and to make sure that other folks are challenged into understanding that they alone can't be the soul of this democracy, and that they alone can't save us from ourselves time and time again. They alone can't be the people that show up and show up in such a way that folks who are voting against their own best interest, that they are saved as well. They can't do it anymore. And we have to be there to understand that reality and lift them up. I don't know everything that a second Trump presidency will bring to Baltimore. But if he follows through on some of his dark, violent promises, we know that we are looking at challenges in the years ahead. But I want Baltimoreans to hear me clearly. We have a lot to be proud of in our leadership in the state and in the city. And I know all of my colleagues in office will agree when I say that Baltimore will always be a place that welcomes and protects our residents, no matter what they look like, who they love, where they were born, or how they choose to live their lives, as long as they're doing it in a legal manner. That will not change, and I will continue fighting for Baltimoreans no matter what.
I'm not mad about how this election turned out. I'm more just like taken aback by how much people are willing to trade from a moral and behavioral perspective in exchange for like maybe subtle improvements in how much things cost. Like, that's a pretty crazy trade that this country just made. And now we're gonna have to see how that trade works out. Like, first of all, I don't think Trump is actually going to be able to solve any of the problems that the people who voted for him think he's going to be able to solve. Like, inflation prices are here to stay. Trump is not going to be able to solve that problem. I'm more just disappointed that, like, it's abundantly clear how bad a person Donald Trump is, and many people who voted for Trump acknowledge that he's terrible. But just because they think they might have cheaper eggs and gasoline, that's all fine. And to be completely honest, like, I'm not mad at them because, like, I do understand where they're coming from. Most of these folks who voted that way live paycheck to paycheck. They're poorer people. I don't have that problem in my own life, so I can't fully feel like the grind of day to day being worried about how much shit costs. That's going to affect how you vote more than worrying about your neighbor's rights. So I understand it. I just don't like it. And the part that's the hardest for me to swallow is that those folks who have those concerns would have likely had a better financial outcome if they had voted for Kamala Harris. Like, doing all the research I did during this election to really dig into which candidate would be better for which income groups, the fact that these lower income groups voted in droves for the guy that was worse for them because he effectively lied to them, that is an uncomfortable place for this country, because all it takes is a good liar, and boom, you got all the power. To me, the only bright side of this is that Donald Trump is actually inheriting a lot of challenges that he won't be able to fix, but he promised he'd be able to fix them. And his solutions are either going to make them worse or do nothing. So we're going to see a very different perception of who Donald Trump is in terms of success during this term. Because his first term, he had 3 years of like just easy cruising because he inherited a great situation. That's not the case this time. And with the House and the Senate looking very likely to be Republican as well, they're not going to be able to blame Democrats for any of these problems when they can't solve them. They're only going to have themselves to blame. And yeah, I know they're going to come up with some way to fucking explain it away, but in reality, the people that switched over and voted for Trump this time around are not going to buy that excuse. They want prices down, they want peace, they want cheaper gas, they want all that shit. They're not going to get any of it. So in the end, that's kind of my silver lining of like, you guys are about to be wildly disappointed with your choice. It's going to take a little bit of time to figure it out. You're going to have this high of him coming in. You're going to fast forward a year or two and go, what the fuck happened? The downside is the half of us who saw this coming are going to have to live through your mistakes. So that's a real fucking bummer. But in the end, I'm not mad at you. I understand your perspective if you're a Trump supporter, but I'm just bummed out that it's so easy to lie to you and that you're so quick to not give a shit about how bad a person is or how many rights are being violated, and just in the off chance that you'll get more money in your pocket. That's a bummer situation to have to share a country with a ton of folks like that. Like, the majority of people are like that. That's a tough pill to swallow.
This election has showed me that jobs just need to take that "are you a convicted felon" question off the application, because obviously it's not as important as people think it is. America don't care if you're a convicted felon. So why should, like get them people a job?
I have just woken up as a British person and seen the American election results, and I don't even think that shock is the word. A criminal! An actual criminal. You all just thought, yeah, I'll tick that box. I'll give him a job. What? She could not have been a more qualified woman for this position. How can you beat Trump if she couldn't beat Trump? I don't get it. I feel like there needs to be studies going into the media that Trump supporters consume, because they're not all just big fumbling idiots. I know that we see the clips where sometimes they look stupid, but the people that are actually voting for him that will lead to him winning the election are like people's mums that go to the supermarket and pick their kids up from soccer practice on the weekend, like wholesome mums. To the rest of the world, it is truly shocking. I look at the news, I look at social media, and people over here, people in different countries, genuinely cannot believe that people in America think that Trump is fit for the job. Like, we can't believe it. I'm someone who goes to America a lot. I'm literally going next month, and sometimes I end up in political conversations over there, and you realise that it's not a joke to them. They genuinely believe that Trump is an amazing person. Remember how I felt in 2016, and this doesn't even directly affect me. I felt scared, afraid. I can't even imagine how women all around the US are feeling right now, knowing that their reproductive rights are probably going to be taken away from them. This is just so horrible, and I'm just sending love to everyone out there. I feel sick.
We are feeling a whole range of emotions as we process Trump's victory. Donald Trump is playing our communities, is playing American voters, is playing the Arab and Muslim community. And it is failed democratic leadership that is allowing him to do that. I mean, the folks who voted for Trump are not theoretical to me. The folks who voted for Trump are my cousins, my friends, people who were tasked with a very difficult task of carrying a lot of grief and trying to do a politically savvy thing at the same time.
Well, no surprise that Dearborn Heights, and city of Hamtramck voted all for President Trump. I think that there were a clear indication that this community was truly upset, angry at the Biden-Harris administration.
Para mí no fue ninguna sorpresa. Eso es lo que el país necesitaba. Porque este gobierno que está ha sido un desastre, la economía no sirve y el pueblo estaba cansado. Los demócratas nada más ofrecen, no cumplen. Cada 4 años y no cumplen.
Yo creo que vienen cambios muy positivos en lo que es la economía, ya lo hemos visto antes, en lo que son las guerras exteriores que tenemos, en el negocio del petróleo, la bolsa de valores, todo eso va a subir. Creo que vienen cambios muy positivos. Creo que vienen cambios en inmigración también, porque anteriormente prometen, pero nunca hacen nada.
Bueno, me afecta más que todo porque, yo soy latino. Ya sabes pues cómo es la relación entre Trump y los latinos, entonces ese es como el contra. El pro, como te digo, él ya fue presidente, él ya sabe cómo manejar un país.
Uno como latino siente cierto como desdén, o lo que dijeron su colega de Puerto Rico y como despectivamente él habla de los latinos.
Me preocupa por supuesto mi comunidad inmigrante, ¿cierto? Los principios, los valores. Me preocupa el proyecto Trump 2025. Me preocupa el poder que Elon Musk está recibiendo y el balance.
Everybody take a picture right now, because we are witnessing a moment in history that we will look back on and be proud of someday. This right here, this is beautiful.
Well, that was a very stressful night, followed by a very disappointing morning. I'd like to congratulate Trump on winning an election that he said was going to be rigged. He was telling us all along it was going to be rigged, but I guess it wasn't against him. I just don't understand how he could lose the popular vote by 3 million, then 7 million, but then he wins it by 6 million? That doesn't seem right. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but that seems fucking weird to me. And what's more upsetting to me about Trump getting another term isn't necessarily what he's going to do, but more what we aren't going to get done now that Kamala's not going to be president. We're not going to be taking steps to try and fix the environment. We're not going to be able to fix the Supreme Court problem. In fact, that's probably going to get worse. We're not going to be able to expand healthcare in this country. We're not going to see prices get lowered. But most disappointing of all, we're not going to be pushing towards kindness and equality. I've known that we had a problem in this country with empathy and intelligence, but I always thought that I was overblowing things. I didn't think it was this bad. I am in the top demographic in this country. I stand the chance to suffer the least in this country. But even still, I woke up to a gut punch this morning looking at those numbers. I'm sad for the people who are going to struggle and suffer over the next 4 years. I'm worried for people in our families, our friends, people that I've met on this app. People that I haven't met on this app yet, but I just follow them. I know that their lives are about to become exponentially worse, and I can't do anything to fix it. I know this really sucks, and take time to be sad about it. That's perfectly fine. But once you feel like you've sufficiently worked through it, we need to work on a plan. We need to get ourselves ready to fight the good fight. When injustices happen, we need to be there to stand up against them. When any elections come up in your area, you need to vote for them. I don't care if it's just school board. Because hopefully a lot of us have learned what complacency and not voting can do. And I'm not even talking about you protest voters and your third-party voters. That's a whole other video. But if we don't push back at every turn, they win and the country gets just a little bit worse. Also, those of you who are numb or kind of working through this, go check on your people. There are going to be people who see this as a reason to permanently check out. Show them that you're there for them. Give them a reason to want to fight. Because there's strength in numbers. We cannot let them divide us. And if there was something shady that went down with this, it's going to get discovered, y'all. We've still got more than 2 weeks with Joe Biden in office, and if there is a dead rat, we need to sniff it out. But if there isn't, and this is legit, we're going to have to work through this together. Also, there is going to be a lot of cruelty and gloating today. Just block it out as much as you can. Don't read the comments, scroll past the videos. Just look for your favorite creators and commune with them. We're gonna get through this, y'all. We just have to take it day by day. We need to stop trying to storytell about the future. We need to stop trying to predict everything because it's not going to turn out the way that we think. If any of us were able to predict the future, we would not be in this situation. We thought this was going to turn out to be the best case scenario, and it turned out to be the worst. So if we think that the worst is going to happen, it's probably not. Kamala may not have won, but we can still live by the phrase, we're not going back.
All right, well, that's all the videos I put together for this particular video for you guys. What did you think? Were you surprised by the Hispanic men? Because I was. I'm curious as to what will happen. I've been reading comments and, people are, oh, well, they're all Hispanics don't have to worry. And I agree. That is true. Donald Trump said a lot about mass deportations. And the presumption is that he doesn't mean Hispanic American citizens, naturalized or otherwise. But do we know that? I don't know. I feel like they were taking a risk, but what do you think? I would love for you guys to get into the comments and let me know your thoughts. How are you feeling this November 7th, 2 days post-election? There are conspiracy theories out there, and I'll be doing a video on that. Do you think this was rigged? Do you think this election goes back to what Donald Trump was saying earlier when he was saying that I don't need your votes, you don't have to vote? Do you think maybe this has something to do with that secret that he talked about? I don't know. I'll be doing one of those videos too. I want to see what all the conspiracy theories are behind this election and just the massness of it and how many people voted against and for, right? That just seems so odd considering the sizes of her rallies and the diminished sizes of his as the campaign progressed. I don't know. You tell me, what did you think? What do you think? Man, woman, child, let me know. Get in those comments. Be sure you push that like button. And till next time, toodles.